Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today for this special collective reading for the full moon. The moon will be in Sagittarius, so I have pulled out my little full moon in Sagittarius card here, which says, See the bigger picture. I'll keep this out and to the side just to have it as our signifier card there. And then for today's tarot reading, I'll be using the Tarot Landscapes deck. So, very cool here. I reviewed it recently. You can check that out if you're interested. What I'll be looking for as we pull the cards is just anything connected to the full moon, any food for thought, any themes that might go along with Sagittarius, or just this idea of releasing, which comes with the full moon a lot of the times. So let's go ahead and give the cards a shuffle and see what comes out. All right, I think that's good. Let's see what we get here. So first card there is the Hanged Man. Crossing that, we have the Three of Cups. Above, we have the Ace of Pentacles. Let's see, how can I make this? And we'll go card by card, but just to get it in the screen there. Okay. Ace of Pentacles. Below is the Devil. Behind is Justice. And before is the Eight of Cups. Now in the staff positions, we have the Ace of Wands, the Five of Pentacles, the Four of Cups, and the Empress. So let's get to the heart of the matter here and start with the cards at the center of the Celtic cross, which is the Hanged Man and the Three of Cups. So the Hanged Man is all about kind of standing still, being in the right place at the right time, or just accepting things as they are. Sometimes that can be a struggle, being patient. The Hanged Man is often connected to the planet Neptune, and that's a lot about illusion or delusion. And so when there's a lot of stuff going on around us, like we see here in the little ocean, it might be hard to tell fiction from fact. When there's chaos, it's hard to know what the truth is. And so that's where the Hanged Man can be really helpful in just kind of standing still and just observing, just watch. And so I think that's a good message here with the Hanged Man of like these little fish. There's a school of fish going around this castle here. There's some chaos happening out there. But when that's going on and we can't really tell if there's danger around us, it's good to just stand still and watch and be observant. So that's a good message there. Crossing that is the Three of Cups, which the Three of Cups is a lot about like socializing, like this social energy and celebratory energy. Often we'll see three people with their three cups kind of clinking them or like dancing around and just having a grand old time. Here it's a little hard to see that, but we do see the three waterfalls going down there. We see the salmon here. He or she has reached the other side of the river, and they're joyful and they're celebrating because they made it, and so now they're ready to spawn their little their little eggs, or I don't know exactly how they do things, but they're ready to mate and do their thing. And so I can see how the Three of Cups can kind of be clashing or be a bit of a obstacle here for the Hanged Man. If there's a lot of pull from our social environment, from our loved ones, from our friends to kind of align with them about certain things, or, to go out and have fun, that clashes with kind of standing still and being watchful. So just something to be mindful there as we kind of go through this full moon in Sagittarius. We might have this pull to go out, to socialize, to be around people and have a good time, but there may be a need to just kind of stand still and wait things out. Okay. In the crowning position is the Ace of Pentacles. So this is like what's on our mind or our collective mind. And so Pentacles is appropriate. It's the card of resources or the suit of resources. And I think right now their money's on a lot of people's minds. just resources are on a lot of people's minds. So I think it's very appropriate that we have this card here during this full moon. Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles in particular, though, is a great card to have because it presents new opportunities. So it might be a chance to seek kind of what's out there, to see new resources or to see resources in a different way, which goes very well with Sagittarius being this zodiac sign of exploration, of adventure, of seeking for purpose and meaning. So just kind of keeping an eye on our resources, being mindful of that and how we can, use them in dynamic ways, or seeing what new resources we can tap into possibly as well. So that's what's on the mind. Down here in the lower position, we have the devil. And so this position here usually stands for our deep past, our subconscious, our karma, that kind of thing. And so I mean, the devil's tough, right? Nobody it's hard to love the devil. Other than when we're thinking about it just solely as like the card for Capricorn, like it's kind of rough. The devil is sketchy for sure. It's kind of rough, especially having it here on our karmic position. Not great, right? So, because like if this is the bed we've made, we're going to have to lay in that at some point, and that's kind of tough. So we just want to be mindful of, what we've done in the past that might have some consequences that want to rear their ugly little head up, or just making sure that we're not giving into these lower, more base instincts. Whenever there's danger around, there's fear. And so the devil likes to kind of feed off of fear to pounce, right? And so not giving into the fear, the chaos that might be happening around us, this is where the Hanged Man is going to be great. Making sure that we do pay attention to our emotions and just kind of, hang out, sit still whenever these little energies start to lurk up. Because we don't want to just be reckless and give into these base kind of emotions there, especially if we have resources on the mind. Whenever there's a scarcity mindset, again, the devil might love that, because then it's like, oh yes, I can pin them against each other. Not to be dramatic about it, but whenever there's scarcity mindset, there's fear, again, coming back to those fear emotions. And so just making sure that we're mindful of the devil and making sure that we don't give into those instincts, because there are resources out there. The ace is about new, new and different. And so there are opportunities out there. It's just about, seeking them out, finding them, and making sure that we can work with that. What we're coming out of is this Justice card, and what we're moving into is the Eight of Cups. And so, I mean, justice is pretty, self-explanatory there. It's about balance. It's about doing the right thing. It's about, using our emotions and our thoughts and logic to kind of find the best course of action. And so that's kind of where we're coming out of, right? Trying to do the right thing, trying to figure out what is the right thing to do, and balancing all of these different things. And so we're moving into this Eight of Cups state of being, where that's more the energy of Saturn in Pisces, and it's a lot about cutting our losses and moving on. Maybe like in other cards we'll see like the well has ran dry, and so we're seeking for new waters somewhere else, for inspiration, for emotional support, because the cups are all about, right, the emotions and things like that. So the Eight of Cups, I think, flows really well with our Sagittarius moon here, which is, exploration, adventure, seeking new things. I think that'll feed very well into where we're going next, which is going to be seeking new opportunities, seeking new resources to pair it back to the Ace of Pentacles, so that we can, reinvigorate ourselves emotionally as well. Just take care of ourselves. So, okay, now let's move into the staff cards here. In the first position, we have the Wands, which this often reflects the attitude that we have towards like the whole situation here. And so the attitude is Ace of Wands attitude. Wands is a lot about actions, new actions, taking different action. And so doing things differently is going to be a lot of what we see in the coming weeks. So people are open to change. People are open to try new things, possibly because we're trying to find these resources, trying to find new inspiration. So, you don't find new doing the same old thing, right? You need to do things differently in order to get different results. And so I think that's a lot about what this Ace of Wands is telling us here. From there, we move on to the card in the second position here, which is our house, or the way that our close environment influences us. And so there we have the Five of Pentacles, which is very interesting because the Five of Pentacles is kind of this scarcity mindset. Here we see this little koala in this kind of desert landscape. The tree here is, dead. And it's hard times. There's a tiny little sprout there, but it's so little and it's not enough food and nourishment. And so that's a rough place to be. So I think again, it kind of comes back to our resources being top of mind. It comes back to the devil and kind of those fear instincts that might be going on right now about uncertain times, uncertain about our resources. We're emotionally drained possibly from all of this, but we're wanting to go out and have fun with friends. So there's, this pull um here. And so it looks like in the kind of near environment here, there's just a sense of lack. And I think the Five of Pentacles often points us to looking beyond what's right in front of our eyes and looking to the spiritual. So here, I think this card does a nice job of showing us that because, yes, immediately before this little koala's eyes is just this tiny little sprout that's not enough. But if they were to lift their eyes to the heavens, literally, they would see that there's storm clouds there. There will be rain coming down, and soon this dry field will be luscious again. And so it's about having faith and being patient. So that connects well with the hangman down here about, hanging out, have faith, be patient, the tides will turn soon. Okay, and so in the hopes and dreams, we have the Four of Cups here, and we have this heron here flying off into the horizon. But what this card is usually linked to is kind of failing to see what's right before our eyes. And so we might have beautiful resources, right at home, close at hand, and we are failing to see that. We're trying to seek maybe new lands, right? We're trying to go to this new place when really we have everything that we need right where we're at. And that connects back, I think, very nicely to the Hanged Man, where it's like you are in the right place at the right time. You just need to be able to see what is before you. So having that clarity of vision, which connects nicely again to this message too, which is like seeing the big picture, seeing beyond what is right before our eyes, going back to the Five of Pentacles, looking to the heavens, having faith, and just looking around too, because the Four of Cups is all about kind of, I don't know if it's like divine intervention is the right word, but it's about spirit, as people say, giving you something. And so this is divine intervention in a sense, but because we're too comfortable or too caught up in whatever's going on with us, we fail to see that. And so it's just good to keep in mind that we want to, rather than having this idealizing energy of idealizing other lands or the grass is greener on the other side, other people have it better, etc. It's about calming down and really looking at what you have. How green is your grass? Maybe your grass is greener than other people's. So I like that for hopes and dreams there. And then in the final outcome card, we have the Empress. So Empress is a lot about nurturing, often depicted by a mother figure, a pregnant woman, that kind of thing. And so here we have just a beautiful little landscape. this doe or deer, just kind of hanging out. They have plenty. There's all this little grass there. And so I think it speaks a lot to kind of nurturing those things that we have, taking care of ourselves, and just again, seeing what's around us because there is abundance here in this card. And the Empress is a lot about abundance and creativity. So maybe just getting creative, seeing, you know, how resources can be used in different ways, or finding just being dynamic, finding new and dynamic ways to use what we have, making the most of what we have. And then when you do that, you find that you have plenty. All right, so that's what we have here for this full moon in Sagittarius, seeing the bigger picture. Quite an appropriate message here after pulling all of these cards. I think big takeaways are, on the negative side, we have the Devil, the Five of Pentacles, somewhat the Four of Cups, so I would say these three are the ones to look out for. Don't give in to your fears, have faith, and just look around. Make sure that you assess what you have, because you have more than you think sometimes. And then positive cards, light at the end of the tunnel. I think the Hanged Man gives us a great message of, hold still, be observant, and make sure that you're not getting thrown off, by those negative things that we saw there. Make sure that you're having some clarity of thought there, not getting, not seeing visions that aren't really there, I guess. And then the Ace of Wands there about, taking different action so that you can have different results. The Three of Cups is great, but we just want to be mindful that our social circles aren't, taking us off the road that we need to be on, or being negative influences, I guess. And then there is hope here with the Ace of Pentacles, which, gives us new resources and new things to look forward to as well, cutting our losses and moving on, and then just nurturing the things that we have. So, all right, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Lots that we actually covered there, but some good food for thought, I think. And so there we have it. We have the full moon in Sagittarius. Remember to see the bigger picture. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.